All right, welcome back. Eat, Pray, Limbs. Back from the international break. The Queen has been mourned officially, so we're going to get back on a regular schedule here. So we got Sam's Army joining us this week, filling in. It's EBR. It's Everybody Rides. We got the King of Europe, Matty Merle's joining us, hopefully for some winners. I've been the coldest gambler across the board. Baseball, soccer, football, college football, everything. So I'm ready to hopefully get it going here, get some of that Merle's juice, that EBR. Because otherwise I might just have to be retiring from gambling for a bit. So Merles, how you doing? You're over in Sweden. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it's on. We're on fire. It's unbelievable. The 12-game winning streak brought a lot of publicity to the EBR crew, and it went down on a shootout. But last night we started up another one. We made it 5-1 in the last 6. I was actually at the game. We won it in a overtime 3-on-3 penalty or breakaway. So it was really cool. And yeah, I'm over here, and I'll be over in Pittsburgh in a couple weeks for the start of the NHL season.
Well, we'll be happy to have you back stateside. It's one of those things for me where I hate the state of Illinois because we can't gamble on the Swedish league. We internationally, I think we can only do sometimes the KHL and the Swiss league. So I'm just watching this winning streak going on while my own account is going down and be like, I would be tailing Merle's. I might have to just move to Indiana for financial reasons. So not taxes, just being able to tail Merle's. So it's been very, very frustrating for me. And then as always, I'm stumbling over my words this morning. We got Sam's Army back. Sam, how you doing?
Oh, great to be back. Great to be back. You know, North London Derby week. It's interesting. I have to point out ZA is a no-show this week, which I think says all it needs saying about what Arsenal fans in their, heart of hearts really feel about this game coming up tomorrow. But no, it's great to have Merle's here. It's, we finally have somebody who knows what gambling's all about, and maybe we'll actually learn something while making some money here.
Yeah, so ZA, he's traveling. He's on his way down to Florida. He's like, I just have to be in the hurricane. So he's going down there to keep Dave company, I guess. So he's out for this week. He is in the air. So yeah, that is the game of the week. But before we get to that, I just you got to just tell me what's going on with our men's national team. I'm already upset. They're going to ruin Thanksgiving. They're the worst team ever, yet they're the best players we've ever had. So Sam, this is where your name comes from. So break it down, make me feel better, or not. Just what the fuck?
Yeah, I can give you maybe some kernels of hope. This window sucked. It just absolutely sucked. It was terrible from the beginning to the end. There was really no silver linings to take from either one of those games.
We're off to a hot start if you make me feel better.
Listen, we got to hit the bottom before we, go up. Matt Turner was really the only player that you could say came out of that window looking good. He played well again. If there's still a conversation about GK1 on U.S. men's national team, I do not want to hear it because he is our starter. Anyway, moving forward. So we're missing a few guys, right? The Yunus Musas, Tim Weahs, Jedis, especially Musa, though. He changes this team. He makes passes. He can break lines. If we have him back, and I'm sure we will, it changes the team, changes the dynamic. I just think that, friendlies are a friendly, right? We went over there. We played in this sort of sterile environment with no fans. People say, oh, that's no pressure. It's also it's just different, right? These guys are used to playing in front of thousands and thousands of people. It probably felt a little weird. It probably felt a little like a practice game. And they kind of played that way. That's what it looked like out there. So I think that number one, we'll play better. We just have to play better. And we can play better. Can't play worse. And when the pressure's on, this team has shown time and time again that, when the pressure's on, that's when they play the best. And number two, I think Greggy B just did us a huge service by basically juicing the odds of the U.S. to win the group. I don't know what they're at right now. I think maybe 700, 800 plus. Listen, I'm hammering that. I think that this team is what we just saw against Saudi Arabia and, oh God, I'm already blanking, Japan. That's not the team we're going to see in November. This team is too talented, too good. And when the bright lights are on, that's when they step up. So I got faith. I still believe.
I mean, they are plus 700 to win the group. I get a lot because of the Nottingham Forest stuff. I have a lot of Wales coverage because they got Brennan Johnson and they got Nico Williams out there. they look very dangerous to me. So I think they're plus 490 to win the group. They got better odds in the United States. And when this is probably not the right thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. It's probably when you can't beat Saudi Arabia, and I'm like, well, we're just playing that same team again in Iran. Like they could lose that game too. They could not get a result from that game. So I am prepared to have Thanksgiving ruined. There's just nothing in my life that's going well. The Blackhawks are the worst team ever. The Bears are terrible. The Cubs suck. Bulls I don't really give a shit about. And then now it's like Nottingham Forest is going to get relegated probably is what it's looking like. And the United States can't get out of the group. So it's just I have to like, just give up on sports. So
there is one common denominator there, Chief, and it's you.
It's me. Yeah. I should just for the greater good, I should just stop paying attention. So like quit the internet and stop paying attention to sports. Take up like
your AHL hockey team won the championship at least last year.
Oh, yeah, but they did. Okay, the Chicago team, but they're not affiliated with the Blackhawks. I would think I would root for the Rockford Ice Hogs, so they suck too. It's just like across the board, it's miserable. I can't find a win anywhere. So Notre Dame also, I'm a big Notre Dame fan. Terrible. So it's just we're like 0 for 8 for my life right now. But Merles, do you follow the men's national team over there too, or what's your? And then, do you have an EPL team that you like, or is it?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, so I always played over here in Europe, and you know, on the weekends we were always playing games. So I basically would just watch the Champions League on like Tuesday and Wednesdays because those were our days off from hockey. But now as I've gotten more into it, I've actually joined on with Tottenham. Partly Sam got me on them early on. But main reason is I tried to go to one of their games. I was in London on one of my hockey breaks, and I was so naive. I'm like, I'm just going to show up to the game. I'll scalp a ticket. No big deal, right? So I'm up there with my now wife, and I'm like, just go. Let's get on the train. We shoot up there. So we start doing the lap around the stadium. First time around, nothing. Second time around, nothing. Third time around, nothing. Obviously, you can't just scalp tickets. I forget who they were even playing. It was probably London Derby or something. So I ended up going to a supporters bar and just drinking beer there and watching the game. And it always brought a little that was my team kind of. I was never a diehard into them. And then I played in South Korea for 2 years, and Son is just the king over there. So that brought me into Tottenham a little more. So Tottenham would, but like I always say, I go where the money is. Whoever I like in that day or that over is my favorite team.
All right, well,
yeah, let's get to that game then, because that is the big game of the weekend, the North London Derby, Arsenal Spurs. Sam, we'll start with you. I do wish Za was here because they've kind of been the kings of the EPL, off to a great start, and Spurs, it feels like this is the type of game that both teams need if they're going to be finishing in the top 4. So how you feeling? And that's an early game. I think it's a 6:30 Central Time start for us. So, and it's the only one in that time slot. So they're making it kind of the Super Bowl of the weekend. So how are you feeling?
Well, first of all, I wish that they had made it the late game, sort of the noon kickoff for us, but 6:30 is tough. 6:30 is real tough. 4:30 on the West Coast. Shout out to the, all the Gooners and Tottenham fans that are going to get up for that on the West Coast. I feel good. I feel really good. I think that I don't always feel this way. Like I've been honest and said, I don't feel good about this, North London Derby, and oftentimes, Arsenal always give us a game, regardless of how low they are on the table. And this time, I feel really good. I think this team is coming together. The longer we we play under Conte, Son is now playing well, at least kind of well. He's scored 3 goals. I don't know if that's good, but basically, we got our guys there. That I think the story of this game, other than the fact that both teams are playing really well, and it's just this is one of those games where it doesn't always happen like this in the North London Derby, where the two teams are coming in playing well. They both sort of feel like they're on the up and up. Like it hasn't always been like that in recent years. So I'm really excited for the game. But if there is a story, I think it's going to be the injuries. Zinchenko it seems kind of iffy on him. Odegaard. And then on the other side, Kulusevski sounds like he picked up a knock for Sweden. So those are big. I do think that Tottenham is better placed to deal with an injury to a guy like Kulusevski, given the kind of depth we added this summer. So I think I just like Tottenham in this game. I do like goals. I do like both teams to score. I don't trust our defense that much, but I do think that we're just a better team right now, and I do think we have more firepower. So I got Tottenham winning this to like say 2-1, but like both teams to score and the over. I like all that.
Wow, I've never seen you confident before. That's probably the most confident I've ever seen you before a big game. Merle's, I mean, you're a Spurs guy too, apparently. So, what are you feeling the same?
Yeah, another reason I didn't mention was Kulusevski now too. We got a Swede. He's awesome on the wing coming down. I actually love when it's the early game. When I was living in New York a couple of years ago, our newborn baby, I was calling dibs every Saturday morning on the wake up. Boom, wake up, put her in the arm, and you got the 7 a.m. game. So I love that. I love it. Tomorrow it'll be 1:30 p.m. here. And I found a nice little spot on the Barstool Sportsbook because it is a tough game.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take the Spurs team total over 1.5 and get plus 163 odds. So just root for some goals like Sam talked about, and hopefully Tottenham gets 2 of them, and we'll see from there. And if we get the win, that will be bonus.
Okay, this one kind of screams draw to me. If it was if Spurs were at home, I would be with you on Spurs, but Arsenal, it almost feels like a statement game for them too, because they've been kind of like a whipping boy the last couple of years. And I feel like they're like, hey, like we're for real, we're challenging, we're going for the top of the table, and they need to get a result at home. But I agree with you, Spurs in better form. It just screams draw to me, and it does scream goal. So I'm thinking like a 2-2. So I like the over. I'm sorry, draw. What I took is a draw and both teams to score. And if you parlay those together, it's plus 340. And I feel like that's like a juicy enough parlay for me that is plausible that I'm dipping my toes in that one. But that one is like your coffee game, like Merle's. Like I'm with you. Like I just wake up. I love being able to have a little action with your coffee first thing in the morning. And that's kind of where like the name this eat, pray, limbs. So you just get up, have a little breakfast, pray for results, and then limbs when you get some. I haven't had any limbs really the entire year, but I feel like this is going to be a kickoff for the weekend. And it's just a compelling game. It's a great game. It's always a great game in the North London Derby, but now that they're both back, I feel like they're both back. I hope people get up early for that one because it's going to be worth it. Merles, why don't we just kind of go to your card next? If you have other games you'll like, and we'll kind of break them down.
My next one I really like is the over in Fulham.
Okay.
Mitrovic's been on fire, even with scoring in the national team for Serbia. I got a couple stats here for you. I sometimes like to find the little stats. Over 2.5, Fulham at home, 3 for 3, and they're 6-1 overall on the over 2.5. So Fulham over 2.5. Put it on the card.
Fulham over. Okay, yeah, I like both teams to score in that one too. Sam, what are you thinking about the Fulham game?
So what stands out to me is again some injuries. Newcastle is a team that I really like long term, but like not sure about Saint Maximin this weekend. Also not sure about Bruno. So Fulham is a better team than I think most of us thought coming into the season, and I think they deserve a lot of credit. So I don't know where to go with this is Newcastle at home. They're usually tough there, but they're missing some guys. So yeah, I kind of like maybe some goals. Don't mind that. Maybe Fulham to pull out some sort of draw, some sort of result. If I was going to actually sort of value bet it, that's what I'd maybe do. But yeah, I think the goals is one I'd go with.
All right, so I like both to score in that one too. That's on my card. I actually like when early in the week, I'm like, I don't like anything. And then when I was looking this morning, I don't know what it was. It had little spikes, something in my coffee. But I like the whole board. So I like Newcastle. Like that's just. And that is it in St. James. Is that what you said?
It's in Fulham. Yeah.
It's in Fulham.
Oh, is that Fulham?
Yeah.
So
you threw me off a little bit on that one.
Sorry about that. Notes wrong.
I do think Fulham has been great to start the year. I just feel like it can't last forever. And this is a place where I think they can get a result, but I like Newcastle just as the better team. We'll see what happens with St. Maximin if he officially out, or is it?
I don't think he's officially out.
Okay.
I read questionable on him. I think Isaac's a guy I love, a Swedish guy too, and I think he might be out too.
Another one. Yeah.
He's a goal scorer too.
Yeah, he's sick. So I went with the double chance with Newcastle or a draw with parlayed with both teams to score at plus 128. So and maybe I'll just make it both teams to score and the over, because Murrow's, I think you talked me into that one, but I think there's value in that game. And I don't know, I have like this mental block about Newcastle where I can't get that Man City game out of my head, where they were like the team that gave them so much trouble. They scored 3 goals. They fought for the full 90 minutes. And it's just like, I know that's them. I know they have that in them, and that they're going to be able to, like, they should be getting full points off of Fulham, just based on how the roster is constructed and like who's out there. I can't get it out of my head. It's like, this is why I'm dumb. Like, this is why I lose my money, where it's just like, I saw one game a month ago and it's like, I know they have that in them. I know they do.
You also know in the back of your mind that you have a little bit of bias with Forest, and you see Fulham as a team that you need to get above.
Definitely part of it.
There's that in there too. Okay.
What the fuck are they doing in 6th place? They should not be in 6th place. Like, I need them back down in the relegation zone with Forest. So hopefully we can do some climbing. My parents actually went to the game, the Forest Fulham game, and we're just like, yeah, we had a great time until they got their hearts ripped out in the second half, like they always do. Next one, we'll go to you, Sam. Do you have anything else on your card?
Well, I basically just sort of been looking at the games that I'm most interested in. You got to talk about the Manchester Derby, obviously. Yep. So this is a game that, United has played well lately. I think that first 2 game stretch, everybody essentially wrote them off and they became sort of the banter club, but they've been playing a lot better lately. I don't know what to think about this game. City's just, they're so good. They're so deep. And Haaland just scares the shit out of me. So I just don't know if I have it in myself to bet against them, but I do like the way United has been playing. So I've gone back and forth on this. So I've waffled a lot, but I guess I'd stick with City. But the way that City has played this season, and they're getting results, they're getting wins, they look good, but they also have looked, surprisingly, I don't want to call them human, but basically, they've looked beatable, at times. You mentioned the Newcastle game, there was the Palace game, there were other games. So, we've been saying this, and I feel like I'm not going to say this about every game, because I feel like I have said it about every game so far, but both teams to score, don't mind that in this one. I do have a City result, though. City win. Yeah.
Just quickly going back, Nick Pope in the window, for the goalie for Newcastle, that's a problem. So do you think there's any shell shock thing there where it's just we don't know what to do with this guy, we better just bet Fulham? That just popped in my head. I know we're out of order here, but
that was a random thought, but I don't think so. I think he'll come back from international break. He'll sort of, it's almost like you'll box it in your mind. I don't think that'll end up bothering him at all.
Okay. So that was poor hosting by me, but back to this Manchester Derby here. So I just don't, there's just no value in betting City, I feel like, so even if you like them to win at plus 278, you have to throw a lot down there to make it worthwhile to get any type of juice for that squeeze. And if like you said, Manchester United has been in form here for a little bit, they've won 4 straight in the EPL. I don't know, Merles, you have a take on the Manchester Derby?
Yeah. My guy's Haaland, and now everybody says, "Oh, everybody's guys is Haaland." I'm going to show you my soccer knowledge and my gambling history. I bet on him 4 or 5 years ago in the under 21 Euro Championships for Norway. He had 6 goals in one game. I'm like, who is this guy? I screenshot the box score right away, sent it to all my soccer buddies, and then we followed him. He goes to Salzburg. He's lighting it up. He goes to Dortmund, who's my favorite German team, and everybody knows the story from there. But I found this guy in the juniors. I'm telling you, and for a big game like this, we're all going to be watching it. And like you said, there's not a ton of value, but I'm going to go with him to score first at plus 250.
First goal for Haaland. I like that.
First goal Haaland plus 250. And if that doesn't go in, then we start looking at the live bets.
Okay. All right. 250. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, he's a Targaryen. We've talked about that. He looks like if he was born here, he'd be like a tight end for the Bears. He's just this big freak guy who is just an unbelievable athlete. It's honestly just not fair. And like that's another guy. I'll have nightmares about him forever. When Forrest played him, it was like that game you're talking about when he was in junior, like the under 21s. Because I think he had three goals and maybe contributed to another, and they lost 6-0. And it was like every time I looked up, I had the game on over here in the other room. I could see it through the glass in our studio. We were recording Redline, and it was just like, yeah, we're talking about how miserable I am. And then every time I look over, there's another goal. So it was that was bad. Sam, anything else you like in your card beside, or any other games you're seeing some value in?
Liverpool Brighton. So I think this is a game again that I'm interested in because Liverpool, as everybody knows, they sort of struggled so far this season. I think they're getting healthy. I think that Liverpool is probably a team you got to watch out for moving forward, assuming they stay healthy or continue to get healthier. Brighton, they've got a new manager. They are a legit team. Like we've seen that so far this season. But, Roberto De Zerbi, who's come in, used to be Shakhtar Donetsk. I think he's a quality manager, but, coaching a team like Brighton it's sort of a delicate thing. And I don't know that you can just come in following a guy like Graham Potter and just like pick up right where he left off. I do think there might be a little bit of a drop off. So I think Brighton is maybe I'm just a little wishy-washy on them, whereas I like Liverpool moving forward. So I think Liverpool at home, this is a big win for Liverpool.
So you're moving that line a little bit.
Yeah.
You're doing the Asian line, so -1.5 for them.
Wouldn't mind that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes some sense to me. I mean, speaking of Potter and your boy Tuchel, what do you make of the Palace Chelsea game?
This is a game that historically I feel like Chelsea has gotten tripped up on. And they're just in a spot right now where I just don't know what to expect from them. I saw there's been some debates on Twitter and the podcasts and stuff about like who's in bigger trouble, Liverpool or Chelsea at this point. I think it's Chelsea. Yep. I just don't, I do like the Potter move. I do think that they're going to be better without the terrorist at the helm, but I just, I don't know exactly where their head is at. The players, who's playing well for Chelsea? Sterling? Is that like you could say Sterling's playing well?
Yep.
Anybody else? I'm not sure. So this is a game where I think Palace could get a result from this. Maybe, I sort of dabble on a draw, something low, 1-1, 0-0 even. I see under, I see maybe Palace result.
Yeah, I like Palace with the double chance there. And if you're going to get a bump from firing your coach, I feel like you have to play right away. And since they fired him and it's in the international break, like I feel like there's no like momentum with that. Like, hey, like let's circle the wagons around the new guy. It's like, he's been here a little bit. So like you almost you missed that natural, like you push yourself off the bottom of the pool. So I like Palace at home too, but I'm not like ballsy enough to just take them outright. So I think it's the double chance, like Palace or a draw, and that's even money. That's +100. So I think there's enough there for me to bet on that one. Merles, you got thoughts there?
Yeah, I got this one circled. People that know me know I'm not only betting on the stats. I do a lot of gimmicks, and it usually does pay off. This is a USA Network game. They want to try to showcase it in the U.S., trying to build soccer. Mm-hmm. So that's one reason there won't be a lot of goals. But the main reason there won't be a lot of goals is our friend Ryan Whitney is a Chelsea fan. He'll be watching the game, and there's no way he'll see a good game. So it's going to be under 2.5. That's my play there. Under 2.5, and it was minus 124 right now, Barstool Sportsbook. So
okay.
I'm with you on that, Merles.
Yeah,
I like that too. So maybe I'll parlay those together, and then before we get into the showcase game that everybody's talking about, 19th versus 20th on Monday. Is anybody else like anything else from the weekend card?
There's one more. So I haven't even gotten to my sort of lock of the weekend.
Let's hear the lock.
So I've been talking about this like for several weeks in a row. I know we've sort of gotten the Queen and like international breaks, so we've been on and off and on and off. But I've been saying this all along. If you pick the right games, the parlaying both teams to score and over has been treating me beautifully this season. Obviously, you can't do it for every team in every game, but this Bournemouth Brentford game speaks to me. It's been talking to me all weekend. You know, I've been looking at it. There's goals in this game. There's both teams to score. It is a lock. I love it. But the only thing that scares me, the only thing is that Bournemouth, you know, they fired what's his name, Pretty Boy Scott Parker.
Yep.
They got a new manager who, it seems like when you bring a new guy in, his first goal always sort of get things figured out at the back.
Yeah.
So that scares me just a little bit. If not for that, I would be just absolutely hammering this. I'm still hammering it, just not absolutely hammering it.
All right. There's tiers. It's absolute hammer and a regular hammer.
Right.
Yeah.
There's tiers,
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, for all the rookies out there, like both teams to score is one of the best bets to have. One of the most fun. If you don't really care about either team, you're going to the bar, you're with your buddies, you just bet that and you're happy no matter where the ball is. So the rookies out there, both teams to score. And if I'm doing that, I like to try to wait a few minutes into the game and get on it live so you get just a little better odds.
Ooh, I like that.
You know,
that's a little nugget. I like that.
Expert nugget right there. That's how we learn. That's how we learn, Chief. I like it.
That's great. So you're on that too.
Both teams to score is minus 132. The over 2.5 is minus 104. You parlay them together, you're then getting it at plus money, plus 128. So that's what I like here.
I'm in on that. And that's another one where it's like Bournemouth has to start losing. They got to start losing. They got to start losing fast. So I'm going to be the biggest Brentford fan in the world this weekend. Need goals, and they're a team that pumps in goals. Like they're a fun team to watch. So and then Bournemouth has been scoring this year too. So maybe they can just keep that going for at least one more. I'm hoping for like a 3-4-1 Brentford win, something that will like psychologically like take it out of them, so they can just kind of sink down to the bottom with us. And then Monday the Midlands Derby. We got Nottingham Forest and Leicester. Leicester's been an absolute mess. They're supposedly going to fire their manager. Then they came out and said that we're not. And he's like, I think I'm the right guy to turn it around, even though he's been critical of their ownership and their lack of spending. They've been horrible. Forest have lost 5 in a row. So it's like a bet, like something has to give. It is Leicester's at home. I just feel like Leicester has given up. And it's desperation time for Forest. So Forest, our book hates them. They're plus 350. Okay, plus 350. They are getting a little healthy. I've heard Mangala might be able to be in the lineup, but there's rumors that they're just going to change their shape. So they might go to 4 at the back now. So it is like no stone left unturned this weekend for Forest. They have figured out scoring. They've scored multiple goals the last couple of games. So I think they're going to continue with that. And I think they'll be able to tighten it up. They have to. And it's not like Leicester's been some kind of offensive juggernaut. So I like Forest to win outright. I also like the over 2.5. And if you parlay those two things together, you get it at plus 550. So that's what I'm doing. Forest to win, over 2.5 goals.
Interesting. I think the emphasis has to be on mid in this East Midlands Derby because this is just an ugly
That's
one.
rude. Yeah,
sorry, that was fact though. What's really you mentioned Rodgers and Leicester, they would have fired him weeks ago, but they can't afford it. I don't think. Yeah. So they're sort of stuck in the same situation as Juventus with Allegri, where they would fire him if they could, but they just don't got the money for it. So he's going to stick around, and I think they're going to keep stinking. Honestly, yeah. I don't think he is the man to turn around. I don't think he wants to be there. So I don't mind your pick just in this one, but I think in long term, Leicester is in trouble. If Forest lose this game, I would be scared for Stevie Cooper's job, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's the sentiment, and nobody wants that. He's a legend. The guy who gets him up to the Premier League for the first time in 23 years. Known as just like a good guy. Everybody loves Steve Cooper, but Marinakis is a tough cookie. He's the owner. He's the Greek guy, and they had he owns the Olympiacos in Greece, and they spent on like a lot of almost like an MLS team for the Greek team. They brought in all these former Brazilian stars, Marcelo, etc., and they hired a new manager over the summer. They gave him 6 games and then whacked him. So. They're right about there with Stevie Cooper too. So yeah, and it is one of those things. Even if you don't believe in Forest and you don't give a shit about Forest, the game is effectively, I think, between these two teams a toss up. So take the team that's plus 350. That would be some. I think that's fair logic. Murrow's the gambling guy with all the nuggets. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm a gambler. And again, it's a gimmick. I can't come on your show and not take Nottingham Forest.
Thank you. Yeah.
Can you imagine? I'm watching that game on what is it, Monday night, 9 p.m. here, and they're up 2-0 at half. I'm like, I just was on his show. Like, how did I not hammer them? So Nottingham is on the card automatically when I come on a show like this.
Well, I appreciate the support, but the answer to that question, how do I not bet one of Chiefs teams, is because they all lose. They all
we're turning you around here. We're turning you around.
Yeah. The only win I've had in the last calendar year was the Chicklets Cup in Vegas. That was the only thing I've been associated with that's been a winner. So yeah, I do think they're both bad. I think they're kind of equally bad. So give me the team that's got all the the odds on them plus 350. I think that's, you'd be stupid not to do that. And I do think that they're going to have I think this is where they start to turn around. I still think they're going to be safe. I still think they're going to stay up. Freuler was great for Switzerland in the international break. He had a goal. Johnson had a couple of great plays for Wales. He had an assist. I think, so some of their individuals are in good form. This thing it was always going to take time when you sign 22 new guys. So I think there will be some gelling and they'll be able to have a little bit more cohesion on the back. And hopefully they turn around quick, because you're right. If they lose, and if they lose in a similar fashion, they've blown leads. They gave up a goal late, like very late against Everton. That should have been 3 points. They were up 2-0 against Bournemouth at half, lost 3-2. They were up against Fulham at home in the second half, lost 3-2. So if they lose where it's like they're collapsing again, I think that could be the last nail in the coffin for my guy. I love Steve Cooper, so I hope he's here. I hope they turn it around, and it has to start on Monday. It has to.
I do think, just to put a bow on that one, I do think there's goals in this one. I feel like I've said that about a lot of games. I don't think that about every game on the card. Southampton, Everton, West Ham, Wolves. These are not games with goals in it. But this game, Forest and Leicester, I do think there's goals in this game. And by the way, I think that firing Cooper would probably be just a terrible move. I think that, like, if somebody knows this team and somebody can sort of figure out how to turn it around, it's probably him. And firing your manager right now, the vibes would just be all sorts of bad, especially in the fan base where you guys have warm feelings for him for good reasons.
Yeah, I mean, it's Brian Clough and Steve Cooper, the only managers of note in the history of this team. The only thing that I would maybe they could bring in Sean Dyche. So the guy who was with Burnley, who was with Dane Murphy. So he and Dane have, theoretically a good relationship. Dane Murphy's the CEO, American guy, if you don't know who he is. So when he brought Burnley up, that was the manager. That guy's still floating around free agent. So I think that could be, if you get rid of Cooper, you bring in him, and then, I'm not saying that's the answer, but if Marinakis forces his hand on that, I think that's where he would turn. Speculation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's it. I think it's a great card this weekend. There's going to be a lot of goals. So, hopefully we'll be posting, Lim celebrations all over the place. So Merles, appreciate you coming on. Sweet.
Yeah. Let me leave you with one more. I know it's a Premier League show.
Yeah.
But we have a hometown team here, Geef Sundsvall. They play in the top Swedish league. They are brutal. They're brutal this year. So we cannot take them, but I'm going to go to the game. So I have a rule. If you're at the game, you got to take the home team or the over. So over 2.5, Sundsvall, Swedish top league. They have an American coach now, Brian Claret, just took over for him, American guy. So I might give him a text message, tell him we're on the over. But that money counts the same as the Premier League wins.
All right. I like that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to bet that in Illinois. I'll look into it. And you're also going to need to text me the spelling of that so I can even find it.
Shout out to Forrest Lasso, by the way. He's a guy that I've had on the podcast several times. Yeah,
exactly.
American.
Yeah, he's our big D man here.
Yep. I love that guy. He's a great dude.
Yeah, exactly. See?
All right. I like that. All right.
We got to tell him not to play so we get the over.
Yeah, exactly.
the over in the top flight Swedish league. That's what we like for that one. Sundsvall.
Sundsvall. Yep. Suns Vegas, baby.
Suns Vegas. How far is that from Stockholm? Are you guys in 24 hours of darkness yet? What's going on?
Not yet. We're 3.5 hours north of Stockholm.
Oh my God.
Once we get into November, December, it'll be dark at 2 p.m. Usually comes up around 9 a.m. So that's always funny. Your thing about being dark on either at 6 or 6.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, just come over here. It's always dark.
Always dark. Yeah.
You don't get a choice.
People think that I'm like rooting for winter. I'm not. But there is this time of year where you get one or the other. Give me the morning. Fucking wit, idiot.
Yeah. That's why we're on under Chelsea, because Whyte's an idiot.
Right. That's exactly right. All right, boys. Well, that's it. That's the show. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll be tracking the bets, and we'll group the locks for a parlay and put it out for everybody.
Awesome.
Nice. Great
Awesome.
weekend.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Great to see you,
All right,
bros.
Merle. Appreciate it, man.
All right.
And then I'll get Harry to shut it off. I don't even know how to do it. So
We're good.
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome. Good talking, guys. I got to run to dinner here.
Cheers, Merles.
Bye.
All right, Chiefy.
Oh, sorry, my head. What's that?
No, I was just saying. I'll talk to you.
All right, sounds good, man. Have a good day. Thank you, Harry.
How was it?
Good.
Does Merle live in Sweden, you're saying?
Yeah.